Hello, thank you for tuning into this video. This is quite a special video for me to make because it's going to go over how I went from fat and insecure and not confident at all to being in a lot better shape and a lot more confident where I am now. I'm going to be covering my entire story, so this is going to be quite deep for me. It's going to be quite a big insight into my actual life. So I think the best place for me to start is back when I was 17, which is when I first started going to the gym. And it was my best friend Ollie at the time who got me into the gym. He's still my best friend now, but because of him I started going to the gym. We went to the gym together 6 times a week. I just copied his split. I had no idea what I was doing, but as soon as I started lifting, I just fell in love with it instantly. The actual lifting side of it in the gym, lifting those heavy weights, more specifically the strength side of it, is what I absolutely loved. And I think that's the first domino that actually got me fat, which is quite funny really, because you're meant to go to the gym to get in shape, but for some reason I managed to go to the gym and get fat. And the main driver towards that was because I loved the bench press so much, and I loved hitting new PRs, going on the bench press, lifting heavy ass weight every single week because it made me feel good. And obviously the more you eat, the heavier you get, which makes it a lot easier to lift those weights. So me and Ollie figured out that if we just eat as much as we can, we are going to be hitting new PRs and we're going to be gaining an insane amount of strength very quickly, which is what happened. Like, my bench nearly doubled in about a year. I went from a 60 kilo bench, which is what I started at, when I wasn't even that fat. I was skinny fat when I first started, to a 120 bench. But anyway, the main side effect from chasing strength, obviously I got a lot stronger, but on the flip side of that, I got a lot fatter. And I mean a lot fatter. And it kind of snuck up on me because I was so focused on eating so much to get my strength up every single week. Me and Ollie and my girlfriend, she'd come along as well, but for some reason they didn't get as fat as me. And I think the main reason for that was that I was just eating more and not moving as much after. But anyway, what we used to do is we'd all come around to my house multiple times a week and we would just binge eat. We'd go to the supermarket before, buy like 20-30 quid's worth of just snacks, like insane amount of calories, and we'd binge eat just the whole time. Especially before a chest day. We had a big, which is still the case now, we had a big chest day every single Saturday. And before that chest day, we would eat a ridiculous amount of calories, go to sleep in my house, wake up the next day, have a massive breakfast, down loads of pre, go to the gym and hit a massive chest day. And the problem was as well that because it was so enjoyable for me, I was linking that fun that I get from the chest day to eating so much food, because if I ate less, the chest day would not be as fun. But over these months of repeated binging, repeated chest days, binging chest days, like, I wasn't doing any cardio, I wasn't moving. I would go to the gym, that would make me feel productive, and then I would sit at home playing games all day. So I was gaining a lot of weight, and by the time it all caught up to me and I was looking in the mirror and I realized, fuck, I'm fat. It was way too late, and I never really noticed for the longest time how fat I actually was. What I noticed was how people were treating me, and I didn't know why. I literally didn't know why at the time, because I didn't think I was fat. My girlfriend didn't think I was fat. My best friend Ollie, he didn't know I was fat. And they said, like, I asked them now, and it's because they just spent so much time around me and it was so gradual that they didn't view me as that. That is also because they are such lovely people and they wouldn't view me any different because of it, which cannot be said for the majority of people that I'd interact with. A specific example, at a party one time, I was there with my girlfriend and Ollie, which, like I said, those are just my best friends. And there was this girl, I mean, there was a few girls, but there's more specifically this one girl who kept coming up to me and my girlfriend and just making digs at me, basically being like, why the fuck saying to my girlfriend, why the fuck are you with him? She said, this is quite a funny example. She came up to us and Amaya was just sat like next to me, and she said to me, she was like, oh, you and Amaya would make cute babies. Just you though, Amaya. And I was like, bro, what? Like, one, what does that even mean? Obviously I know what it means, but it's such a random thing to say, and it's such a creative insult. And that's just like an example of the lengths that people go to just to make me feel shit, just because I was fat. And it definitely didn't help that my girlfriend is so attractive, because it was just such a like a direct contrast. And it, for some reason, it made people think that they had the all clear to just say whatever they want about me, to her and to me. Another example, another party I went to, I think it was a birthday party. The first thing this guy said to me when I walked in with my girlfriend is, fucking hell mate, you're punching. And I was like, bro, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? And then he just tried to buddy up to me the whole night, talking to me after saying that. And it's like, I can't respect someone who just insults someone off the bat. It's like, no one says that to me now, after losing all this weight. Which gets me on to like the complete opposite end of the spectrum, which is how I get treated now. Completely the opposite. No one says anything to me. People compliment me. People compliment me on my transformation, how I actually lost the weight, which I will get into at some point in this video, how I actually did it. But people compliment me now, like they don't say anything about me and being so ugly compared to Amaya, like, which feels a lot better, and I feel a lot more confident because of it. When I was fat, I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to really do anything. And I used to think that was because I was introverted. I just didn't want to, like I didn't enjoy it. But it was just because of that subconscious fear that I had that I was going to get insulted. Someone was going to come up and talk to Amaya, say something about me. Like, I was genuinely quite scared about it. It made me feel such a strange feeling that if you haven't felt it before, you could not relate to and you would never understand. And like it really hurts, and it still hurts to think about now. And when people insult the old version of me, they're like, damn bro, you were so chopped. Like, that was me. And the people who say that to me now, who compliment me now, but still bring up the fact that I was so disgusting when I was fat, those are the same people that would have said something to me when I was fat. Like, people say as well, like, bullying makes fat people change. I don't think it does. Maybe partially, but the trade-off to making them feel that bad for a slight chance that they might change is not the way. The systems that I use for my clients is what actually makes them change, and it makes them have that transformation that changes their life completely like it did mine. And it's so fulfilling. The same way that when I lost the weight, I was fulfilled and I felt amazing because of it. Seeing the transformations that I can create now, it gives me that same feeling, which is why I do what I do and why I became what I am now, which I'll touch on later in the video. So how did I actually get here? How did I actually lose the weight finally? Well, it was pretty simple, to be honest, in theory. The plan was simple. Obviously, actually doing it is where it becomes a bit more challenging. So what I did when I finally decided to make the change and I finally decided to lose the weight, step one, I started doing some research on how to actually do it, because I genuinely had no idea. And soon enough, I came across the only way to lose weight, which is a calorie deficit. And it took me a while to sort of figure out what exactly it meant. At one point in my research, I thought that I had to burn my maintenance plus how many calories I wanted to lose. Like, so say for example, I thought I had 2,800 calorie maintenance. I thought I'd have to do 2,800 calories of cardio plus more if I wanted to lose any weight. But after further research, thankfully, and I was so grateful that that was not the case, I figured out that that is not what you had to do. So when I finally figured out that all I had to do was eat less than my maintenance every day, I sort of formulated my meal plan. I didn't know as much as I do now. I didn't know anything about protein. All I knew is I had to eat less than I was burning. So what I did, and this was the very, very early stages of my cut, and it's what sort of kick-started the whole thing. I would wake up, skip breakfast completely. That was my first plan, because I'd read about intermittent fasting and I thought I'd give that a try. So I'd wake up, skip breakfast, and then at about 1 o'clock I would have lunch, which would be 2 acorn bread, is what I call it. It became a real staple. I kind of do have to thank 2 acorn bread for my transformation, really. So I'd eat 2 scrambled eggs and 1 bit of toast, which obviously is not that a lot of food, but it seemed to work for me. And then soon after that, I'd go to the gym. And then I'd come back, and I was still living with my grandparents at this point, and I'd just eat whatever they would cook. And because I ate so little throughout the day, literally just 2 acorn bread, I was in a deficit. I didn't need to track what I was having for dinner because I couldn't really. I wasn't making my own food. And that started working. I started losing quite a lot of weight very fast because I was so heavy and I was eating so little. But in hindsight, I probably lost quite a bit of muscle doing that because I wasn't eating anywhere near enough protein. So as I started losing more weight as the months went by, I started getting into a bit better shape. I was watching the pounds come off, training in the gym, eating my diet, but I soon encountered a big problem that stuck with me throughout the whole of my cut, and I still sort of deal with now, which was binging. The same habits that got me fat were also stopping me from losing the fat, which does just make a lot of sense. So I would be eating such a low amount of calories that every so often, usually in an event, if I had a good enough reason, I would just absolutely crash out and eat thousands of calories over my maintenance, which would set me back a lot of time. And it took me a while to overcome this. And what I did was I reevaluated my actual diet because I knew that's where the root of the problem was. And by doing so, I stopped myself having these yo-yo diets, and I sort of broke the cycle somewhat. I helped myself a lot by changing my diet. So what did I exactly change it to? Well, my diet's sort of gone through quite a few changes. I find what works for me is eating the same things every day, mostly the same things every day, the same meals with some variation every so often. Now, that's not going to work for everyone, but that's what worked for me. So I kept 2 acorn bread for a little while, and I started eating chicken wrap and then turkey mince for dinner, and I ate that every single day, and that worked. My muscles started growing, my lats especially. My lats were the biggest part that I noticed that changed because I wanted big lats and I started training them hard. So they grew quite a lot because of the increased protein. It made such a difference. I stopped binging as much because I felt fuller. My meals were a lot more enjoyable. And obviously I stopped eating my family's cooking and I started just making food myself. So I learned a lot about cooking as well, which is a great life skill to have, obviously. So I fixed my diet. Now I've sort of, in my opinion, perfected my diet, but I'll get onto that later when I finally get there to the end of my cut. And the next thing I did was up my steps. Steps, as I'm sure you've seen on my page, is the biggest thing that I preach, and it's for a very good reason. I was working at a supermarket at the time, so I was getting a lot of steps in there, and I started noticing that when I started working, and I started getting these steps in, my weight started coming off a lot faster. So I thought on my days off, I might as well just keep that up and just go out for walks outside the gym and just around the area that I live in. And now I don't get below 10,000. I've averaged 10,000 steps every single day for the whole of this year. And it had such a good effect on my mental health, just going out for walks by myself, with my friends, with my girlfriend. And I'm grateful that I started because I never would have really started if I didn't want to do it with the intention of losing weight. So I started doing both of those things. I fixed my diet, started getting the steps in, and more months went by. And I was nearing on being about 25 kilo, 30 kilo down, something like that. And I wanted to accelerate the process because I was getting a bit bored of cutting. I've been cutting for probably like 8-10 months now. So I started doing 30 minutes on the treadmill every sort of 2 to 3 days. So I did about 3 times a week, 30 minutes on the treadmill. Sometimes I'd even up it to an hour if I was feeling extra motivated. And then the fat just started melting off, really. That paired with my diet, of course I had struggles. Still, I'd binge every so often and I'd hate myself for it. Every time there was an excuse to, I would. But that's probably the biggest takeaway I have from the whole journey, is as long as you keep hammering at it every single day. The reason why I've been able to lose the weight is because I never gave up. Even though I binged, even though I messed up, even though I gained some weight, I didn't stop. I just got back after it the next day. And that was how I was able to complete it. Yes, I'm not perfect yet. Obviously, I want to improve myself. This is nowhere near the finished product. But I'm not fat anymore. I don't get treated the same as when I was fat. The way I get treated now is a vast difference. And it's because I never gave up. But how is life actually different for me now? Well, I would say the biggest things for me now is, number one, I feel confident to take my shirt off. This is in no particular order as well. I feel confident to take my shirt off. This summer, the past couple months, I've been going to the beach, I've been on holiday, I've felt confident to walk around with my girlfriend with my shirt off, and that feeling is unmatched. And number two, when I do actually have a shirt on, it fits me a lot better. I'm quite big into fashion, and now when I wear my outfits, they look a lot better on me. The fits have always been good, but they look a lot better on me. And that's that's probably my favorite thing, that I feel a lot better in my clothes. Number three, the mobility. This is sort of one you wouldn't really think about unless you have been fat. I can now squat down, I can climb things a lot more, I'm a lot more flexible, and it is just from not being as heavy, not having as much stress on my joints. Grateful for that as well. And finally, this is sort of a weird one. I don't know whether to feel grateful for it, but it's how people treat me now. Like, obviously that's not something that I directly changed, and it's not something that should be different depending on how you look, but the reality is that it is. And now I get treated a lot better by people. I get spoken to, I don't get ignored, I don't get just randomly disrespected. There's no like little jabs at me all the time. I actually am respected, and people want to hang out with me, and people are a lot nicer to me. And it's so strange. It's so strange being treated like that compared to how I was. So, after experiencing the major improvements to my life after losing the weight, I felt like I could help other people do the same thing. So about 4 months ago, I completed my PT course. I did that while I was losing weight because I thought it would teach me a little bit more, which it did. It taught me a lot more about how to train, but it taught me how to train other people. So I thought I'd use my personal experience plus my knowledge to start helping other people. So I started my coaching business, which is what I do now. I help other people who were in my situation or even just want to change for the better. I help them get there. And that feeling, like I said earlier in the video, of changing people's lives, seeing their transformation, seeing the messages they send me, of how I've helped them, how they're treated now, how much better they feel, that fulfills me just as much as when I lost the weight myself. And because I know the struggles that they're going to go through, because I've been through them myself, and I overcame them, I can help my clients on a much more personal level than just giving them a plan. Because I know what it's like. I've been in their shoes and I overcame it. I got to the end result. And now it's sort of my mission to help as many people as possible who feel shit, who felt like I did, who are in the same situation that I was, because it's not nice to be like that, and no one deserves to be going through life getting treated differently just because of their weight. So if you want to make a change, and if you have any questions about how to do that, feel free to add my Instagram, send me a message. It'll be in the description and it'll be linked in my bio. But thank you very much for listening to my story. And I hope you learned a thing or two. I hope it was quite insightful. And keep your eye out for more content because I do not plan on stopping posting anytime soon. Peace.